I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think you really wanna where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party, got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debts and childhood poverty. Oh, somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy. Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Very, very good evening. Sunday, Tuesday, the 20th of May 2025. My name is Raja Mir. This is a Recusant 9 transmission. This is it's following a request from a friend of mine in the council. So a couple of friends of mine in the council who've come to me, in Oldham Council, who come to me saying, Raja, please, you've got to do something. No one else is telling the truth about this. People don't know, or people don't know all of it. And will you please do this? And I do this with trepidation, really. One is because when I talk about the gangsters in Oldham and how they've infiltrated the politics, when I talk about the gangsters in Oldham and how they've infiltrated the political landscape, I know it's not just in Oldham. It's across the board with the Pakistani communities. The Islamists have a block vote and have infiltrated the Labour Party and have now started their own factions. So every time I speak about this, and when I started speaking about this 6 years ago, I knew I was putting my safety at risk and the safety of my family at risk. And so there's no ambiguity. Greater Manchester Police, who monitor all of my transmissions, have protected these individuals. And you saw the case of Lucy Connolly and her tweet and how she's in prison. Well, these people have openly incited my murder and worse. And to this day, the police protect them, and the police protect them because the politicians are linked to these people. So I'm duty bound to do this because there are people now in the council chamber and in the communities where I come from who are now openly opposed to this, what is taking place. Yet at the same time, I understand what the consequences for me are. I came to an agreement with my closest friends probably about 4 years ago that should these people kill me, and that's what we're talking about, should these people succeed in killing me, then they would make sure my daughter was okay. So that is, and I'm saying this in all seriousness, there is no need for me to embellish any of what's taking place in Oldham and how Andy Burnham's Greater Manchester Police are neck deep in it, senior officials in the council neck deep in it, and the local media neck deep in it. I genuinely believe more so than the cover-up of the gang rape of children. More so than the cover-up of the gang rape of children. It is the relationship between senior politicians, not just in my town, but in the government, with Pakistani gangsters, that they want to keep away from public scrutiny. But nonetheless, when friends of mine, such as Councillor Lewis Quigg, I have no qualms sharing my friendship with him. He's a Conservative. I don't know how much longer he'll be a Conservative, hopefully not for much longer. I followed home. When the leader of Oldham Council, Arood Shah, marches into venues demanding CCTV footage is handed over of him meeting with whistleblowers. When the car of Arood Shah is blown up, clearly a setup, makes national news, international news, an attempt to frame me and put me in prison, and the CCTV footage, by the grace of God, shared with me, clearly shows it was a setup. And Andy Burnham's Greater Manchester Police just shut down the investigation. Nothing happens, when really what they should be doing is arresting the council leader, who's also the chair of the National Constitutional Committee and the equality lead for Andy Burnham. And you can fact check all of this. All of this is true. Gangsters run my town. Gangsters run my town because they have infiltrated the highest levels of power. And when I talk about gangsters, you'll see. So, this is not a transmission I looked forward to. It's not a transmission I wanted to do. It's like I'm forever beating my head against a brick wall with this. I put myself at risk. I put my family at risk. And as demonstrated by the engagement figures in the lead up to this, when I do one of my normal transmissions, I get a few subscribers, I get a few coffees. Next to nothing for this. Because what was happening here now, and I'm looking at the 100 and however many here, and you know as well as I do, so many of you from Oldham are watching this and you're nothing but leeches. You'd have me sacrifice myself, you'd have me killed, and yet you will not support me. And this includes so many of you who will sit in the council chamber or sit in the highest level of civic office in the council. And you know what I say is true. Too cowardly to support me, let alone subscribe to the channel and in any way put your hand in your pocket for a couple of quid. But you're here. I know you're here. You know you're here. We all know they're here. I shared these photographs and more photographs at the time. And let's quantify who's in these pictures. That's a young Arood Shah, Oldham Council leader now. Next to him, next to her, is a man called Mohammed Imran Ali. He's known as Irish Immy. He's a convicted heroin dealer and a getaway driver for the cop killer Dale Cregan. Irish Immy was convicted in the dock alongside Dale Cregan, and when I brought to attention the nature of their connection, there were attempts to attack me and incite my killing. To this day, Irish Imi has been convicted twice in a court of law for crimes against me. He's a violent criminal, a thug, a convicted, dangerous career criminal. Yet here I am, knowing the consequences of speaking out. The picture to the right, where you see Arud Shah and you can see the Labour Party rosettes, is her brother. Arsalan Shah, I think is called. He's a convicted money launderer, is what he is. I have no major issue with Arsalan Shah. He's a convicted money launderer. I'm sure he was caught up in a whole host of family enterprises. He came and confronted me the day we beat Arud Shah in South Chadderton. By a circumstance of fate, I had to pick my daughter up after school from the trampoline park in Glodwick off Park Road. She was, I think, 6 at the time. He must have been going to the gym, marched over as though to confront me and have a fight with me. And to his credit, he saw I was with my daughter and he turned around and walked away. I think he was 18 or 19 at the time. So I have no gripe with him per se. And of course he will support his sister with a red Labour Party rosette. That's no issue. But the facts are the facts. He is a convicted money launderer. In the middle is a younger version of a man called Zia Hussein. He's a convicted kidnapper and gang member who tortured and sexually abused his victims. He's also wearing a red Labour Party rosette. So these are some of the individuals we will go on to talk about. But the corruption in a town such as mine, is only allowed to fester in an environment where the council officers are neck deep in what is taking place. And one of the reasons for the timing of this broadcast is tomorrow is the full council meeting in Oldham. It's the annual council meeting, and it's the meeting at the and this is the Oldham Times, and I'm enjoying sharing this story, 2 stories here, because the likes of Kent Lawler, I'm told I can't swear much anymore, and I try my best not to, because I have a responsibility. But you've got to understand, these people tried to kill me, incite my murder, and take me to a place where I was genuinely contemplating suicide, and Kent Lawler and others from the Oldham Times are part of that. Where they wrote lie after lie after lie about me. A vote of no confidence in the council leader is set to be supported by opposition councillors at a council meeting this week. Thank you. And anyone, Emily, can call me a racist because I'm associated with Rupert Lowe. My association with Rupert Lowe is that I am duty bound to support any form of action that leads to justice for the hundreds of thousands of our country's children who were gang raped. And if I'm a racist, then so be it. A vote of no confidence in the council leader is set to be supported by opposition councillors at a council meeting this week. Tomorrow, the local authority will meet at an annual meeting with opposition councillors looking to oust Councillor Arooj Shah. It comes amid the controversy of the council's next deputy mayor, with the Lib Dems accusing Labour and independent councillors of taking part in a grubby deal. I'll get to that later. This year, the nomination for deputy mayor would have fallen to the Liberal Democrats. However, council bosses have reportedly nominated Councillor Brian Hoban as deputy mayor, which would see him become the mayor of Oldham in 2026. Ahead of the council meeting, leader of the Lib Dems, Councillor Howard Sykes, said, "At the last election in Oldham, the Labour Party lost its majority on the council. For the last year, there have been support to remain in power by a group of so-called independents who were voted in to oppose Labour." Yes, indeed, Howard Sykes. I led the campaign and I supported these people on the promise that they would stand against Arooj Shah. They betrayed me, which is fine, but they betrayed the tens of thousands of people in my town who put faith in the independents. And that's why the independents are finished. That's why the independents are finished in my town. I was told yesterday that I am somehow responsible for scuppering what was called Proud of Oldham and Saddleworth, run by, at the time, Paul Eric, who's now in charge, the interim leader of Reform. And I'm toxic and whatnot. Listen. I think it's very clear to people. What I am is honest, resolute, passionate, and principled. I will not do deals with people involved in the cover-up of gang rape of children. I will not do deals with racists, genuine racists, and I will not do deals with Pakistani sectarians or Islamists who want to see the black banners of the Sharia fly over this nation. Call me what you want, but I will not do deals with these people. And I supported every one of them until they lied, they deceived, and they got into bed with the very people we elected them to fight against, and turned a blind eye to the very issues that we risked our lives and our freedoms exposing. And I think, Julie, as you've been with me from very near the beginning, your father was with me until he died. I think it's very, very clear what sort of person I am by now. Thank you. It is clear putting themselves first when they should be thinking about the people of Oldham Borough. The council's reputation is in tatters. Public trust in local leaders is in the gutter. It is clear that the public does not have confidence in the Labour leader or our administration. Therefore, the Liberal Democrats will vote for change at the annual council meeting. Councillor Shah faced a no confidence last year but managed to remain in power thanks to votes or support or abstentions from some independent councillors. So we're clear, the 4 independent councillors that supported her was Brian Hoban, and I've got documented proof. I think I shared it at the last transmission of him agreeing that he would not support Shah. Neil Hindle, the same, from the Failsworth Independent Party, and from the Shaw Independents, a Nazi uniform wearing Mark Hintz, and Lisa Nafesy, Mark Hinds has attempted and failed to have me arrested, charged and put in prison after he fabricated allegations against me. And then used council letterhead to publish them online. He also passed a motion with Arud Shah to try and have me arrested for some fraud or some nonsense that they've been making up for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. The government wrote to them and asked them for evidence, and they supplied no evidence. Most of you have no idea of what I have had to endure. Oldham Council and Oldham Labour have been approached for comment. So there's a vote of no confidence tomorrow. It won't win, but that's by the by. So you've got to understand that's the first bit of the context. The second bit I want to share with you is this. Just give me 1 second, let it come up. Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much. This is the Oldham Times. It's pretty much in the pocket of the council. There's a local democracy reporter, and she's come across me. She's terrified of me, I can tell, which is fine. She's one of those fake liberal bicycle riding sort of, you understand. Women, I think she lives in Didsbury or Charlton. I'd say Charlton. Charlotte Hall. And I like people to get to a place on their own. So Charlotte, who I have no doubt is watching this along with her colleagues at the Oldham Times. How do you feel now, Charlotte? Is Raja Mir the evil man in all of this? Is Oldham Council corrupt? Is it infested by criminals? Is Raja Mir the bad man? Or are you coming to the realization that what I am is someone who refuses to abandon the people of his hometown, no matter the price I may pay? Secret letter sent to government by Oldham Council bosses. This is good. So she has discovered herself how corrupt this council is, and I'll read it. A secret letter sent to the government by Oldham Council bosses sought to influence a major decision for the borough, the local democracy reporting service understands. Earlier this year, the council wrote to the Secretary of State, Angela Rayner, with a request to withdraw from Places for Everyone, a controversial Greater Manchester housing plan aiming to bring 11,500 new homes to the borough. The request was mandated by an extraordinary vote won by a narrow majority of councillors who fear the plan will result in a loss of greenbelt land. So this happened as a consequence of two votes. The first vote, the council said it didn't approve. The vote wasn't for what it said it was, so there was a second vote. And it was to leave the Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham's land grab of our greenbelt. What the council did was, writing the letter they were told they had to write, they then sent a secret letter. This is a sackable offence. They sent a secret letter to the government. It has now emerged that council bosses sent a second private letter to Ms. Rayner directly opposing their own request to withdraw. So what is the point of democracy? We vote and say we want to write a letter to withdraw. We force the council to write the letter to withdraw, and the council officers go and write a secret letter. Saying what? Ignore them. Don't believe this. Don't do any of this. Whilst the first letter was published on the council's website on February the 19th, the second letter has remained unpublished. Several official sources have confirmed the existence of the letter. Council bosses initially agreed to share the letter with the local Democracy Reporting Service, with sources stating it had always been intended for publication but had been forgotten. Yeah. This is Shelley Kipling all over. Yet despite a Freedom of Information request which obliges the council to disclose certain types of information, a copy of the letter has still not been supplied to the local Democracy Reporting Service or been made available to the public online within the deadline, which is 20 working days. The FOI was submitted on April the 16th. And despite having several weeks to provide a statement on the letter, council bosses have opted not to do so. Let's be clear who we mean by the council bosses. The back door bent neck deep in the cover-up of gang rape of children because she was a senior figure in the communications team under McMahon, Shelley Kipling. More than half of councillors voted to request the withdrawal. Many saw the government's rebuttal as a betrayal, with Oldham's Liberal Democrat leader Howard Sykes claiming the verdict went against the democratic decision of Oldham Council. He added, time I think will show we were right, and I predict that we will be forced to provide more land, including Greenbelt, for development in the very near future. But the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government claimed there was no justification for the borough to leave the agreement. You can ignore the rest. The council has been contacted for comment. What also happened was we forced a vote for the council to write to the government for a public inquiry. Remember? We forced every councillor to vote in support of us at an extraordinary meeting. That was forced yet again by Councillor Lewis Quigg, who, by the way, my understanding is facing investigation. He's been reported to the police as well, according to, I think it was Shelley Kipling and one of Arud Shah's councillors, all falsified. And he's now facing investigation from an external lawyer that the council has recruited at tens of thousands of your cost. Shelley Kipling, instead of writing to the government for a public inquiry, conveying the passion and the travesty of the cover-up and all of that, simply wrote, copied and pasted the motion in its entirety. These people should be arrested for misconduct in public office, particularly and investigated for their roles in the cover-up of the gang rape of children. So that is the context, the background of this. You've got council officers neck deep in what is taking place. Before we even get to the Pakistani gangsters, rewarded with hundreds of thousands of pounds of salaries. The borough solicitor, the real one, left, and it appears he signed an NDA where he was paid out of, a region of £250,000. So God knows what he knew. The new interim borough solicitor, that means appointed without interview. That's what interim means, appointed without due process. Has already spent tens of thousands of pounds trying to take an injunction out against me. And yes, the stress, the anxiety builds up I live in a very modest flat with my daughter. He made it very clear that if I did not agree to their demands, then I would be liable for all their costs. Should they win in court? At the time, I was facing prison for malicious, fabricated allegations that would only have got to court because of Andy Burnham's police officers and the involvement of the Crown Prosecution Service. This is how high this scandal runs, and this is what I have faced. And even then I had a conversation with an 8-year-old child that we might lose everything we have. But what is it I should do? And the answer was, you need to do the right thing. So I told him I would see them in court. Heavyweight lawyers, Brown Jacobson or something. I told them I would see them in court. This is how corrupt the council is. Before you even look at the Pakistani gangsters or the politicians, you have to accept the council officers are neck deep in this, and it's council officers who've come to me and pleaded, help them. And here we see Charlotte Hall finding herself in the same place I am. Secret letter countering the democratic will of the people of the town. Are we a democracy? Or what is this? Tyranny? So that is the background of what is taking place. The council is corrupt. Millions of pounds, tens of millions of pounds have been handed out in bribes or through dodgy processes to their mates. I think in the end the truth is the truth, my brother. And in the end there it is. We're 6 years in. I'm still here. I think that in itself demonstrates who is telling the truth. Of course he's not okay. Lewis is a young man who's entered politics, lives at home in Royton, and has never had to deal with any of this. Yet I admire him because he's found courage. And he's gone on his own journey to find that courage. I came to this from a different place, Debbie. I spent my career working on behalf of this nation, fighting extremists. I faced people who've pointed guns at me. People like Lewis should not have to endure what they've endured. And it's a shame the Conservatives have failed to stand by him. It's a disgrace. If you watched my previous transmission, I pleaded to Lewis to join Reform. And I also pleaded to Mark Wilkinson and Sandra Ball, who I also believe are decent people. They are decent people, despite my differences with them, to also join Reform and give this town something that we can cling on to and shape and inform. This post, just sharing this post, is a man called Tahir Mushtaq. He's the brother of Councillor Shahid Mushtaq. Tahir Mushtaq has incited my murder multiple times. The police protect him. This post he shared was by Irish Shimmy, who's clearly insinuating I'm gay, with an ex-councillor called Kaiser Rahman. Kaiser and I don't get on. He's with the Pakistani sectarians. But for a part of our lives, Kaiser, Paul Eric, a whole host of us were on the same page. Here is the man who the leader of Oldham Council openly hangs off the arm of, drives around in his Bentley. He's got offices in the council, publicly stating he's followed me home. He's had his scouts follow me home. My scouts witness things firsthand. Apparently I'm in some sort of gay relationship, or was, with Kaiser Rahman. Absolute bollocks, but the finger on gay relationships in Islam is that it allows for people to kill me. Promoted by the brother, just sharing now. You've now seen how people have been put in prison. Yet the police will have not put any of these people in prison. As recently as 2 weeks ago, they text messaged me saying they've closed the case down, nothing to see, even though the Islamists were sharing doctored videos of me engaged in some form of homosexual activity. And all of this goes back to, I refuse to condemn gay people. These Islamists want to see gay people hung. I'm completely comfortable with people who are gay. It makes no difference to me. I'm at ease with my sexuality. I live in a liberal Western democracy. And two consenting adults doing whatever they want is their business. None of mine. So you can see Tahir Mushtaq. Look at the date. 17th of November 2019 I posted this. Allegations I'm a paedophile, using a law firm. The police did nothing. Fast forward a few years, here he is, in a picture, immediately behind Arooj Shah, in the council chamber when she was re-elected and before she became leader. And on the side there, you only can see, can't you? Labour Party rosettes. Labour Party rosettes. Let me... And this is the official portrait from the mocktail bar that they run. No one quite understands who owns it or how it makes his money. There's Irish Shimmy posting, well done Arooj Shah, and of course he's making reference to me and to the little Bangladeshi nonce. Get over it, it's not really that deep. Well, whatever I am, I'm not a fucking heroin dealer who was involved in aiding man in killing 2 police officers. Whatever I am, I have spent my life serving my country. And no, I do not drive around in a Bentley. But at least I can look in the mirror and be proud of the reflection that stares back. To show you how powerful these people are, here he is, featuring on a Greater Manchester Oldham, Greater Manchester police picture. These police officers knew full well who they were with, and they're posing alongside him, helping whitewash his past. The police are neck deep in this. And here is a very recent picture of him opening his business in an Oldham council, next door to the council offices, inside the Spindles, in a co-working space where he's called his business Linked Up Oldham. This is how powerful they are. This is how powerful these people are. I'm not Maggie Oliver. I've dragged this to a place, Victoria, where there is no coming back from. With the greatest of respect, I am of no use providing emotional support to survivors. I am here for justice. Burnham must be in it as well, because he will not say a word. His equalities lead hangs off the arm of someone involved with a Dale Cregan who killed 2 police officers. Arood Shah number 10, with Councillor Bev Craig, the Manchester Council leader, Irish me posting, "Well done, Council Leader Arood Shah." And you can see McMahon in the picture as well. If that picture doesn't terrify you, I don't know what will. My friend Councillor Liam Billington, one of the very few who openly supports me. Tameside Conservative, one of the few. When I was falsely arrested and falsely reported I'd been somehow arrested for child sex exploitation, trying to portray me as a child sex offender, the Oldham Times, Charlotte Hall's publication. And I was suicidal. Liam phoned me up. I'd never met him properly. I went to Staley Bridge and he bought me a coffee. And I spent an hour with him. I will never forget his kindness. What Liam's referring to is the firebombing of Arood Shah's car that Jim McMahon attempted to frame me for with the aid of the Daily Mail. And it's only by the grace of God that I was sent the CCTV footage that clearly showed that it was a setup. She'd left her car unlocked. This is the chair of the National Constitutional Committee of the Labour Party. So let me go through a series of articles I think you will find of value. So there's no ambiguity. I've been told I can't call him the getaway driver of Dale Cregan. Here is the Manchester Evening News from the time, September 2018. The getaway driver of police killer Dale Cregan has been recalled to prison. That's him, the face of evil. This is the man who is the power behind the power in Oldham Council. He's the power behind, he's the muscle behind the Labour Party. A career criminal jailed for being police killer Dale Cregan's getaway driver has been recalled to prison. Mohammed Imran Ali, 47, from Oldham, claimed to be a devout Muslim and humanitarian after he was released part-way through his sentence. The MEN has now learned he's back behind bars. The convicted drug trafficker was allegedly found with 2 mobile phones, which kind of means you're back to drug dealing. Yeah. Ali is only allowed to have 1 according to the terms of his early release license. He was also allegedly found with a knife. Ali was jailed along with Dale Cregan in 2013. He was released on licence halfway through his sentence in 2016. He was sent back to Strangeways prison on August the 7th for breaching the terms of his early release. The parole board will now consider his... Ali was standing beside Cregan in the dock in 2013 when he was convicted of assisting an offender. So he was in the dock alongside Dale Cregan, convicted in the dock alongside Dale Cregan, and this man has links with not just Arooj Shah, but also Shelley Kipling. She refers to him as a community ambassador. Is this the sort of community ambassador you and I want? That's Dale Cregan. The getaway driver never had a driving test. While on the run, Cregan killed PC's Nicola Hughes, 23, and Fiona Bourne, 32, in another gun and grenade attack before handing himself in. Dale Cregan, of course, was not from Oldham, yet his arsenal of weapons, his grenades, were found stashed in an Oldham drain in Glodwick. Arooj Shah is the councillor now for Glodwick. Are we to believe it's a coincidence that Dale Cregan, a white man from Audenshaw, his grenades were stashed in an Oldham drain in Glodwick? So we're very clear. The more you understand what's going on, the more you have to accept that I am fully aware of what I risk sharing this and campaigning against this. particularly because we know Andy Burnham's police force, even though these people killed two of the police officers, Andy Burnham's police force is neck deep in the cover-up of aiding and abetting the Pakistani gangsters and Islamists that have infiltrated my town. Yes, Karen. The Mail finally ran with the story in September 2023, how Angela Rayner ally celebrated election win with police killer's getaway driver. Arooj Shah, 44, the newly elected Labour leader of Oldham Council, was pictured celebrating her win this month with Cregan's getaway driver Mohammed Imran Ali. Here. Do you know what happened that morning? And that was the morning he's pictured fist bumping away. He was convicted in a court of law in Manchester for attempting to harass and intimidate me. Breach of his restraining order against me that he'd been convicted for previously. Minutes earlier, if not hours earlier, he'd been convicted. How is that meant to make me feel? A member of the public who goes to court despite multiple threats against me that the police were fully aware of and protected those who threatened me. Should I testify this will happen to me or that will happen to me? Here he is, moments after conviction, in the town hall, celebrating with the chair of the National Constitutional Committee of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer. Are you linked to Irish IMI? Is the Prime Minister linked to Pakistani gangsters? How high does this go? How high does this go? We know, and this is a man who tried to put me in prison, tried to incite violence against me. I think he was on the payroll of the Labour Party at the time. Neil Wilby had a falling out with him. Took information I released at the time because people came to me. Council leaders spad to face criminal trial. The council leader's special political advisor is facing a criminal trial after his arrest shortly after last year's local election, as in the picture he just took. A spokesman for Greater Manchester Magistrates Court has confirmed the following to Neil Wilby Media. The case of Mohammed Imran Ali, aged 43, charged with offences of criminal damage and possession of an offensive weapon. Here he is. In the lead up to the election, that's Councillor Shahid Mushtaq stood up. Whilst Arooj Shah sat next to the gangster Irish IMI. Shahid Mushtaq is in charge of children. This is obscene, isn't it, Pamela? So this guy was facing a criminal trial days after the weekend. He was celebrating Arooj Shah's victory. The case of Mohammed Imran Ali, charged with the offences of criminal damage and possession of an offensive weapon on or about the 7th of May, is next listed for a trial hearing at Wigan Magistrates Court on the 20th of August 2024. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? Would you care to comment, Andy Burnham? goes away. Disappears. In Charlotte Hall, whilst your newspaper falsely reported, repeatedly reported falsehoods about me and followed me around from trial hearing to trial hearing, attempting to put pressure on me to force me to have a breakdown or kill myself, because that's what your reporters were doing, let's be clear. When you knew I had done none of those things that I was accused of. Why is it that the local media refused to run a story on how the special advisor to Arood Shah, the leader of the council, the chair of the National Constitutional Committee, had been charged with possession of an offensive weapon and criminal damage? And my understanding is it was a machete. Why did this not make the newspapers? Come on, Jack Fairfield. Every now and then I've got to smile, Roy, and that's made me smile. Thank you. Victoria, the older I've got, the more I've realised there are men and there are men. And I know what I am. I'm definitely not the biggest. But I will not surrender my town, my people, my children to this. They're all watching this, Chris. They're all watching this. So even his boy will be turned. This is what Wilby wrote at the beginning. Tried to incriminate me as some sort of misogynist. If only Madam Mayor tried to make it out that I'd done something. This is Gail Hadfield Granger. Gail Hadfield Granger fabricated allegations against me and then went on holiday when it finally went to trial. It would never have got to trial if the allegations had been looked at properly by the police or the CPS, who failed to check the authenticity of the evidence. She'd made it up. My mother died before I could clear my name of harassing a woman. Granger is a close associate of Arood Shah, and we've got her pictured with a Red Labour Party rosette and hanging out in Irish Immy's Mocktails 24. What they were trying to stop me from doing was exposing the cover-up of the gang rape of children and exposing the criminal infestation of my town. What I'm showing you this article for, you can see the close-up of Irish Shimmy in the photograph. Of the police. Why isn't Jim McMahon answering these questions? Because we are too aware that if you were to counter every accusation he makes, as in me, that something more ridiculous or outrageous will follow. Well, you are a gangster's moll. Because that's what someone is who hangs off the arm of a gangster. And Jim McMahon is neck deep in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children. This is not every accusation I make. I make specific accusations with evidence. Yeah, that's what Granger did, didn't you? He was not named in the council chamber, but identified himself as local activist Raja Mir. Apparently, I never turned up to a meeting with him. It was during COVID. I had no intention of going to a meeting with anyone. Apparently, his persistent questions about backing up my assertions of wrongdoing with documents have fallen on stony ground and led him to being blocked on two of my main social media, or his two main social media platforms. He was accusing me of all sorts, including being a police informant. That's what Neil Wilby was doing. Claimed I was a police informant, put my photograph online. The police refused to arrest him. Put a picture of my front door online. The police refused to arrest him. Tried to harass and intimidate me in the lead up to Irish Image trial. The police refused to arrest him. The police protected him because he was like this with Jim McMahon and Arooj Shah and the Labour Party. You can see here, one of the issues upon which we clashed publicly was his interpretation of an email in which he refers often as evidence of a cover-up of child sex abuse in Oldham. Well, we now know that there has been the cover-up of child sex abuse in Oldham because the government have acknowledged it. And my information from all of my sources was that McMahon supported Irish Immy. That's right. The Minister for Local Government has a direct link with Dale Cregan's getaway driver. I never claimed she slept her way to the top or any of those sorts of things. It's not in me. Here he is claiming there was no getaway. So apparently Irish Immy was not the getaway driver. There was no getaway. So he's trying to whitewash Irish Immy, but here we go. Apparently the Serious Fraud Office were looking into me. Well, join the queue. They all went away because I am not a criminal. There's a bit I want to show you. This is what has been established as fact, as opposed to what is asserted by Raja over a letter sent from MP's office regarding prison's licence conditions. Irish Immy is registered as a constituent of Jim McMahon MP. It is routine for elected representatives to assist such person. No, it is not routine. Here is McMahon assisting a cop killer's getaway driver, written by Wilby, who hated me, and apparently it's okay. It's okay he wrote a letter in support. Bullshit, it's okay. government minister directly linked to a cop killer's getaway driver. But apparently it's okay. And apparently Arood Shah was working in McMahon's office at the time, played no part in the letter, and McMahon won't publish the letter. We now know of how politicians have provided references for members of the rape gangs. Let me continue. I want to take you to the second photograph. Zia Hussain. Let me pause for a second. Let me have a coffee. Not coffee. A slurp of my Vimto. Maybe it's a good time for you to get a drink. We've been at this for an hour. And I've just got a message. My daughter's going on holiday with her mum. I am hamster sitting. So the next time there's a transmission, if you hear a wheel or something, oh God, I'm hamster sitting. Welcome to my world. Here I am doing something serious and a text message comes along. I'm hamster sitting. Oh. Right. Please, if you're finding value in my work, please at the very least support me. Buy me a coffee if you can. Subscribe to Red Wall in the Apple. Since I started this transmission this evening, one person. There's 240 of you here. And there's one person. For some reason my iPad is running out. 10% battery. It's an old iPad, so I'll buy another one. Zia Hussain. Gang tortured men at house in Oldham. A sadistic torture gang, including 2 men from Oldham, have been jailed for a total of 32 years. Zia Hussain, 32, and Munir Ahmed, 31, from Glodick, helped snatch 4 young men from Bradford before sexually abusing and beating them at the gang's stronghold in Coppice. Zia Hussain, 32, and Munir Ahmed, both from Glodick. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not even angry with it. They were trusted lieutenants of Bradford mastermind Mazhar Abbas, so you can see the county lines nature of these gangs. 34 who were seeking revenge after armed robbers stole his drugs stash. All 3 men pleaded guilty to conspiracy to kidnap the 4 victims and to assaulting them. Hussain, that's Zia Hussain, an unemployed father of 7 from Abbey Hills Road, and Ahmed, a park warden from Park Road. So I assume a park warden means he worked for Oldham Council. Yeah? You're not just a park warden, he was employed by Oldham Council. They hide it. Do you see how they hide it? Were imprisoned for 9 and 8 years, whilst Abbas was jailed for 11. At Bradford Crown Court last Friday, Judge Jonathan Durham Hall QC called the gang an extremely sordid and chilling group of men. The court heard the motive behind the kidnap was Abbas's desire to find out who was behind the robbery 2 years earlier. The captives were held at a house in Kennedy Street. between March the 26th and April the 3rd, so for a week. One terrified victim was held captive for 10 days. Another was first taken to Woods for a mock execution. This is who the Labour Party are in bed with. Mr. Wright said brutal punishment was meted out, born of suspicion and desire for revenge. One victim was sexually abused with a broomstick and forced to perform a sex act on his fellow captive. My understanding is they shoved a broomstick up his ass and forced him to suck the other person's cock. I'm sorry, but you need to understand who the leader of Oldham Council is standing next to. Who Andy Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor, is silent to. Chair of the National Constitutional Committee. Anything to say, Keir Starmer? His ordeal was filmed, and gang members threatened to release the humiliating footage if the police were told. Does this sound familiar with what they did with the rape gang victims? Do the Pakistani gangsters' tactics sound familiar to you? What do you say, Andy Burnham? This is your equalities lead. What do you say, Keir Starmer? This is the chair of the National Constitutional Committee of the Labour Party. Where are you? Sunday Times, Manchester Evening News, Oldham Times, where are all of you? Where is the BBC? Where is GB News? No, we can't have Raja Mir on. The gang put electric clamps on one victim's testicles and beat him with carpet strip. He was stripped naked and hot wax dripped on his body. When police examined the house, they found blood on the settees and spattered on the walls. Remember the two names? We talked about Zia Hussein. The other one was Munir Ahmed. This photograph was took very recently. On the end, Sajid Hussein, I think, councillor with a ponytail, the Labour councillor for Coppice. Remember? They were took to a house in Coppice. Shahid Mushtaq, the councillor in charge of children. The mayor, Dr. Zahid Chauhan. They'll have to tell you if they knew about Munir Ahmed, because that is Munir Ahmed. My understanding is that man next to Dr. Chauhan is Munir Ahmed. Okay, I need to do something for a few minutes because I have so much to get through with you. I'm going to put the main camera on and I need to just boost the battery on this. Please, so just give me 1 second or 2 minutes whilst this battery gets boosted, because now I want to move on to other councillors. I want to move on to other councillors because I'm trying to show you is there's a council meeting tomorrow. You just There's a red wall. There's a. The easiest way is to buy me a coffee, mate. Tony, thank you so much. I am 100% community funded. I am here because a small number of people have helped keep me going. Many of them fed me, checked in on me, and travelled from one courtroom to another to another to another over a series of years, whilst I pled guilty at every hearing until case after case after case collapsed against me. Because of this. Because I refuse to surrender children who have been gang raped and trafficked, and because I refuse to abandon the people of my town to this. I got to a place in the end, my friend, where I realised that I would not be here if not for the grace of God, and I did not start off a religious person. Thank you. At every trial, every hearing, Denise, you have a head up, not guilty. The CPS fabricated evidence to try and put me in prison. Forget these gangsters. The police maliciously arrested me repeatedly. Did you instruct them, Andy Burnham? Because someone sure as hell did. You subscribe, he says, using that. Thank you, Joseph. I'm grateful. Sorry, I'm just waiting for a 5-minute boost on this, maybe. And remember, the mainstream media, I am blacklisted. Have I come across in any way as some sort of madman or some nutter or some extremist? And yes, it is right, because they tried to take it off me. I do have an MBE. The last queen put a medal on my chest when I was 30 years old. It's a lifetime ago, but that is the man I am. By the time I was aged 30, I was sat in rooms with world leaders. I might be northern, I might be working class, but I took all of that and helped shape and inform not just the policies in this country, but I kept this country safe, helped keep this country safe from terrorists. And they tried to rewrite who I was and what I'd done. That's not charged at all, but it's at 8%. Thank you. I'm grateful for the coffees. My urge is for people, my plea is for people to sign up and subscribe to Red Wall and the Rabble. I can see a few of you have sent me some coffees. I'm grateful for that. But one person has subscribed so far. The subscriptions are what keeps me going. And this is the truth, Gary. I will never work again because of what I've done. I will never work again in the field I was trained in. I want to move on to the man who wants to be the leader of Oldham Council. That's a picture I put up earlier. Cameron Gaffar, Cammy G, HMO millionaire. Let me do what I do very quickly. 18-bed home slammed over claims people are treated like animals in little kennels. One councillor said having to approve the HMO proposals sickened him. Ronald Street in Oldham. We've got a big problem with HMOs. An application to convert a private home into a house of multiple occupancy to accommodate 18 people has been granted by the council's planning committee. There had been 44 public objections to the plans, raising concerns about parking problems, potential increase in antisocial behaviour, blah, blah, blah. But it's like kennels, yeah? You can see. The proposals relate to an 18-bedroom house, once a former pub, on Ronald Street. Accommodation is spread across 4 floors, including the basement. The plans were lodged by a man called Samir Zul-Ukurnain. This is Samir Zul-Kunain. Frederick Street is a part of Werneth in Oldham. KSGZ Holdings Limited. Let's have a look to see who his business partner is. Press people. Cameron Gaffar. This is the man who wants to be leader of Oldham Council. And Cammy G, I know you're watching. I know you threaten people you're going to sue me. Well, sue me. You've already had letters sent to me. Bring on. I know you're a millionaire. Bring whoever you want and sue me. Sue me for what? Bring into public attention that you're a business partner with this man. Of a HMO? Is this one of yours? I don't know. 18-bed home? People are treated like animals in little kennels? Cameron Gaffar? Why don't you share with us who this man is? This is the Oldham Chronicle home hunt for Oldham villains, so it's Greater Manchester's most wanted list. Police are on the hunt for some of Greater Manchester's most wanted petty criminals. Well, I don't believe this is petty. Assault to abduction is not petty. But here is a name. Kashif Gaffar. Who is Kashif Gaffar? Councillor Cameron Gaffar. Kashif Gaffar was on the run, granted Greater Manchester's most wanted list. Supply of Class A drugs. Who is Kashif Gaffar? Well, this is where we turn it around on people. Here is Neil Wilby. So if you want to sue me, you can sue Neil Wilby first because he published it. Will checkered history finally end? This is Cammy G. Wants to be the leader of Oldham Council. Former Labour councillor, by the way. I feel that the judgment was unfortunate. I would like to apologise for being in a difficult financial position which led to this notice not being adhered to. I take my landlord duties seriously. So he was pleaded guilty. Here it is, pleaded guilty to committing an offence under Section 30 of the Housing Act 2004 at Oldham Magistrates Court on the 10th of January 2012. Is that you, Cameron Gaffer? Is this linked to you, Council Gaffer? Because the name of the applicant is linked to you on Company's House. People are treated like, quote, animals in little kennels. And then in respect of this, Kashif Gaffer. In respect of Kashif Gaffer, let's see what your mate will be had to say. During that era in 2012, Cameron's brother, Kashif Gaffer, Cameron Gaffer's brother, Kashif Gaffer, was amongst Greater Manchester Police's most wanted men over allegations of Class A drug dealing. Financial difficulties. He must have been behind payments. And if there's any doubt about some of this, sorry, give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I will find what I want to find for you. I'll have to type it in. Sorry, give me 1 second. It gets better. I just need to type something in. Here you go. Here you go. The drugs gang, who smuggled £4 million of cannabis into Manchester in boxes of grated cheese. The 5 men, all from Oldham, shipped over just over 400 kilograms of high potency skunk from the Netherlands into Manchester. 2018. The 5 men, all from Oldham. Mohammed Kashmiri. Who's Mohammed Kashmiri? Would someone like to tell me from the Oldham group? Oh, it gets better. The Oldham group, whilst there's Cameron Gaffer, there's Wahid Ashraf. Wahid Ashraf. Would you like to confirm with me who Waqar Ashraf is? Would that be your brother? Who's Waqar Ashraf? So here we got 2 councillors who now want to take control of Oldham Council, whose immediate family members, one was on Greater Manchester Most Wanted list, another one tried to smuggle in what, 1/2 ton of skunkweed? And my understanding is there's another family link with you, isn't there, Cameron Gaffer, with Mohammed Kashmiri? If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. These are the men who want to take over this town. So you've got, on one hand, a faction of Irish Imi and those gangsters linked to Arud Shah. And on the other hand, you've got this lot, the Oldham group, Rogue landlord, would that be an inappropriate way of describing Councillor Cameron Gaffer, HMO kingpin, millionaire? Brother on Greater Manchester's most wanted list for Class A. No wonder they don't want DBS checks across the council. Hold that thought, Sheila. So we get to the point. We think, okay, well, what's... Surely the other councillors will do something about this. Well, let's look at the other councillors who've propped up Arud Shah. And I'm sorry, and I'm not racist when I say this. I don't mean to be racist, but some of you white folks, some of you white councillors, how cheap are you selling out the communities who put you forward to fight against this? First of all, I want to draw your attention to Councillor, this is the Daily Mail, Mark Hints. Nazi boy, we call him. And the reason we call him a Nazi boy is he likes to dress up as a Nazi. I'm not joking. This is the calibre of the independents that shamefully we supported. And as soon as they got in power, they tried to have me arrested, but here he is, Nazi boy. He Sieg Heils in a council meeting. I'm not joking, look there. You can see him raising his hand, Sieg Heil, during the parish council meeting in May. No wonder someone like this, I mean, what is the Labour Party doing? Getting in bed, as bad as it is, with someone who wears a Nazi uniform. I'm sorry, you do not wear a Nazi uniform and Sieg Heil in council meetings. And then we want to move on to Councillor Brian Hoban. Remember, Arud Shah needs Hincy Boy, Mincy Boy as we call him. I've not got it here to play it, mate, otherwise I'd play it. So you got Arud Shah with the Irish Army contingent. Zia Hussain, the kidnappers, the torturers. Yeah. On the other side, you got Cameron Gaffer with his brother on Greater Manchester Police's most wanted list for Class A substance, and his other councillor, Councillor Wahid's brother, involved in some sort of drugs conviction, with another individual that my information is linked to the Gaffer family. Remember, these are millionaires. Gaffer drives around in a Rolls Royce. That's your councillor. His business partner, you can see the 18-bed HMO and how it's been described as kennels. Mark Ince, we elected him, we supported him, turned his back on us, tried to put me in prison, falsified evidence against me, tried to have me arrested. Failed again, because I do not lie. People say to you, Raja, how do you remember all this? Because you're hardwired to remember the truth. The brain is hardwired to remember the truth. I don't have to think. Sometimes I forget things and I've got to pause. But the brain is hardwired to tell the truth. That's why I'm still here 6 years, 7 years later. This is the scary bit. What I'm describing to you in Oldham, it'll be the same in Bradford, it'll be the same in Huddersfield, it'll be the same all over the place. The Pakistanis have infiltrated, the Pakistani gangsters have infiltrated local government. And Arud Shah wants Brian Hoban to be deputy mayor, which means he becomes automatically mayor of Oldham. How corrupt is Oldham? How corrupt is Oldham? The mayor of Oldham, if Arud Shah gets away tomorrow, which he will, this man called Brian Hoban will become the mayor the year after. He's a convicted fraudster. He swindled old women out of their savings. An insurance salesman gambled away cash he collected from policyholders, a judge at Bolton Crown Court was told. Compulsive gambler Brian Hoban started off taking £20 for petrol from clients' premiums in his job with the Bolton Company, intending to pay it back the following week, but it quickly escalated and soon he owed thousands of pounds. He didn't owe thousands of pounds, he stole thousands of pounds. He is a convicted fraudster. You're going to have a convicted fraudster as the mayor, and you've got a gangsters mall, and God knows what Cameron Gaffer is, but a slum landlord I don't think would be an unfair description. He conned old ladies, and you're going to have him as your mayor. He was a manager at British Rail at the time, made redundant. He took a job at the Royal London Mutual Assurance Society. Hoban of Somerset Road, Failsworth, had previously admitted at Bolton Magistrates Court to 2 charges of false accounting and theft. And you're going to have him as mayor, and they want to put Raja Miah in prison because Raja Miah finds this offensive. The first time I went to the Civic Centre was with my father. The Civic Centre, for those of you who are not from Oldham, is where the council administrative building was. It's a tall building. They've moved now to multi-million-pound nicer offices. I was 4 years old and I held his hand, a small person. And my dad died when I was young, so I have very few memories of my time with him when he was healthy and the treasured. And I remember it was 1976, 77. He led me in. He had a word with the security guard who smiled at me and winked. And we went through and he pressed a button. It was the first time I ever went in my life into a lift. We went to one of the highest floors. We got out and we just spent 5 minutes looking out of the window over the town that is my home. If I'm emotional, it's because this is my home and this is what they've done to it. The second time I went to the Civic Centre, I went with my school. It was a trip. Infant school. And I met the mayor along with a class of 30 and he gave me a pin with the emblem of the town. This is my home. This is why I will not surrender it to these people. I spent 20 years of my life safeguarding children. How can I look the other way when other people's children are being raped and trafficked and sold. How can I abandon councillors such as Lewis, Mark, Sandra, even some of the others who don't like me, but I know they're not crooks. They just lack the courage. I get that. So, at tomorrow's council meeting, whatever happens, we lose both ways. Which is why, yet again, I plead to the councillors and to all of you who are from my town. We've tried the independents, we've failed. We know the mainstream parties won't support us. We are working class people. We do not have the luxury of choice. The only option we have is reform. Go and join reform. Switch sides. You're powerless as an independent. You're a waste of time as a conservative, Lewis. Go and join reform. Take whoever you can with you. And come the election next year in May, with whatever energy I have left, despite what else I am doing on this inquiry for Rupert Lowe or any other work to do with this, I will make the time in between babysitting a hamster, and I will campaign alongside you, and we will take our home back from these people. Thank you to all of you who stayed with me for the course. And if I'm emotional, my apologies. But you can see, these people have tried to kill me. And why? Because I refuse to look the other way to tyranny. If there is enough demand, I think the meeting tomorrow is in the afternoon. I'll host a live watch along. I know it's my birthday. I think I'm having tea with my daughter in the evening and clearly taking possession of a hamster. While she's away with her mum. But if there is enough demand, we'll do the watch along. But I think people need to understand who these people are. Who Brian Hoban is, who Mark Hince is, who Cameron Goffor is, who Arooj Shah is, and the people they associate with. Please sign up to Red Wall in the Rabble. It costs you absolutely nothing. You only pay if you can afford to do so. All of my work is free. I put it all out on the hope, on the promise to myself that I am morally obliged to do this. And if I do not fight, it is very clear to all of you, if I do not fight, no one else will fight. And it's no criticism of anyone else, because I have, by the grace of God, been on a life journey that has equipped me with a set of skills where I've come home and I can fight, and I will fight, and I will fight until my last breath. But I need you to stand with me.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.